Good morning and welcome to the first day of the FIDE Online Chess Olympiad. This is one of a kind, first time that we have online Olympiads being taking place as a result of this COVID pandemic that has affected the whole country. In fact, we're a little bit behind because the games are already underway. If you don't know what's going on, we are following Team Kenya, commentating live on chess.com. We have Kenya playing Brunei on a couple of boards, and actually as we speak one particular game has already ended. I'm your host, Dr. Victor Ngani, and with me is co-commentator Titus Kirega, who's also with us today. So perhaps Titus, what do you foresee?
Definitely this is going to be a very interesting event, considering it's online. This is the first time we're seeing this kind of setup. Definitely a lot of unexpected play will be played, but Kenya is currently fielding some like 6 players. We'll explain the format as we go on, but for now on the board you can see Mehul playing Shawal, Sharikan. So at the moment Kenya is playing Brunei, Darussalam, and you were mentioning a game that is already over. Maybe you can give us some more insight of the same.
Yes, I was following this behind the scenes, and actually Mehul, who's Kenya's strongest player actually for the last couple of years, he's come out very strongly. I think he's had hit ratings over 2,400 on online platforms. He's the highest ranked player in Kenya today. Lots of hopes on him, but it seems as if he lost on time in a very simple position. I don't know, we can go to the game directly just to have a look at it. Just a few games. Yeah, I think it was a declined Benko Gambit. He was playing white, and generally it's a position that should be quite good for white. But I noticed that his time had just ticked down very quickly, lost on time. So we had to get clarification why this is the case. But it's very likely that the problem is in fact just his internet connection. I hope that gets sorted, because the kind of loss he had is not something that we could have had. And even as you're speaking, I think Mehul has just won his game. The game he had was a French defense exchange variation. I think the opponent took on d5, Titus.
He may have taken on d5. Let me see the position.
The final position is what you're looking at on the board, and you can see I think this is reasonable automatically, because you have 3 connected passed pawns in the middle.
Center
really.
a bit very. Let's see. So in this case, for the guys watching, Mehul is playing black, and as you can see, black has some really nice center control. So I think this is what really made black to resign. After queen takes the pawn on c3, it's like downhill for white. Everything else is falling apart. The queen is attacking the bishop. This pawn is falling. The pawn on d4. It doesn't look very good for white, considering also the pawn on c2 is also under attack.
Maybe we can take it back a little bit and just take it from the top and see how this game went.
Started.
Yes, because I think this is a pretty straightforward win. I don't trust the rating 1200. It's not likely you're playing in a chess Olympiad with the rating of 1200.
Obviously, yes.
I have a feeling that we'll see this a lot in the upcoming games where people are using new usernames. It helps in avoiding preparation. But I think the Kenyan team has been very honest in their preparation and in their approach.
True.
And they're using names they've used a long time. Which works to their disadvantage, but also more sportsman in a way.
Maybe just to give guys a small preview of what's going on. So at the moment, in Team Kenya, we have Joseph Mehul, whose FIDE rating in the Rapids event is 1972. He's actually the board one for the team. Then we have on board 2 Mehul, who's just won his game. His rating on FIDE, his FIDE rating is 2033, as you can see from our screens. Also, we have board 3, because in this event, a team must have at least a lady or 2 in each game, and it's Lucy Wanjiru playing on board 3, her rating is 1344. Board 4 you have Mongeli Sasha with 1599, and board 5 you have Mclegaire Robert, who is a junior, with a rating of 1408. And also on board 6 we have Krishi with a rating of 1600. So like Victor, you were saying, it's very true. You cannot compare someone's FIDE rating with what they are showcasing online.
Of course.
Definitely online they are way better rated, or they could be underestimating their rating. So maybe we can just go back into the games and see what's going on with our players at the moment. So we had a game ongoing. I think Mongel is still playing her game.
Yeah, you can have a look at that.
So Sasha is playing, as you can see on the board.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And she's just mated. I think it was such an opportune time to come and see.
No, actually, I think she's lost. She's lost the game.
She's playing white.
She's playing black. Sasha's playing black. And I kept an eye on this one also very early on. I think she got into trouble very early.
Quite unfortunate.
Yes. There was a really weak pawn structure. I mean, she had a backward pawn sitting on c7. If you can go back a little bit on that also, so that we can see.
Maybe we can see what happened. Really.
What happened? Yes.
So they played the Petrov defense.
Yeah.
Both players attacking the center pawns. Let's see.
When I was learning chess, actually, very early, I learned chess in campus, and this Petrov position was one of those that became very important in my, just fascination with chess, because at the position when you both attack the e-pawns, I think you can take on e5. Then if black takes on e4, then you bring your queen out to e2, attacking the pawn. Okay,
so if you take on e5,
you take on e5.
Yeah.
If you just go back a little bit.
Let's go back a little bit.
Oh, they started the next game, eh?
They started the next game.
I'm seeing that's Grandmaster Daniel Narodiskis. Probably.
I think it just shifted to
the next good game.
Yeah.
But if you're able to get that Petrov position, and it's a very important lesson I learned very early on. You see, you're attacking my pawn, I'm attacking your pawn. So you pick my pawn, I pick yours.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, within a few moves, I find a situation where my queen is getting lost. I hope we get back to it to just have an idea how this works.
e4, e5.
e4, e5, yes. Knight f3, knight f6.
Knight f6.
And then we have knight takes e5.
Knight takes e5.
Yes. And so here you'll see most players actually play d6. And it's very important because
d6.
That's the correct move.
Yes.
But early on, you'll be tempted to just take on e4. You've taken my pawn, I take yours.
Yeah, right? Usually that's the biggest. In fact, if I've fallen for this trap.
Yes.
And now
queen e2, yeah?
Exactly.
Because you can see the 2 pawns that was blocking the linkage between the
and now
kings.
There's this nasty attack with the queen on that.
Yes. And what do you do when your knight is attacked? You move away?
Definitely. You find yourself as a beginner playing that kind of a move.
All right. And then... this looks very basic for many chess players.
Yeah.
But in Kenya we have a lot of people who are just starting out.
Yeah.
And suddenly, if you notice that if you remove the white knight, suddenly the white queen on e2 is looking at the king directly.
So you need to put the knight on a square. You have an attack on the queen, right?
Absolutely.
So queen knight to c6.
You see, that knight becomes a power piece.
Exactly.
Wherever you take it, can be touched because it's going to be check.
Definitely.
So you can put it on f3, I can put it on g6, I can put it on c6. C6 is best because it attacks a queen.
Correct.
And I just remembered this, out of the Petrov, one of the first lessons I learned in chess. It really had a powerful impact on me.
And this is lights out for...
Lights out.
This is completely lights out.
Anyway, how did the game go?
So, I'm trying to find if I can get the game at the moment. Just... I don't know if we still have any of our players playing. I think they are all done with their games. Maybe we can just...
Vulcan is playing Lucy Wanjiru. How is the game?
Lucy Wanjiru...
Volcano?
Is she playing?
No, she's not playing. The game is finished, all right. But we can have a look at how her game went. Is that possible?
Let me see if it's possible to get her game. Just a moment. Okay. I'm unable to see her game at the moment. Maybe we'll actually check that out as we come back into the next round. At the moment, we'll ask for a short commercial. Sorry for the delay. We were to start in time. Then we can update you guys on what's happening on this online Olympiad.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys, and see you in our next segment in just a few minutes. Now,
You've transitioned.
I've transitioned.
Gracious.
Kuna kitu inanisumbua na chess.com. Unajua sijaizoea.
And
I'm unable
actually,
to see my
the other problem I'm facing is that I can't see. You see, streaming is behind. So what you're talking about, I have to look at that screen to see.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I'll miss exact.
This is exact.
Yeah, that is exact. But when I was looking here,
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
that is
behind.
there.
That's why I've changed and I can't see.
You guys don't know what you're doing. It's lit. It's lit.
It's lit, eh?
Sure.
It's lit. But when you say I'm unable to see anything, you're being hard.
Usijali, unajua ni hizi vitu tunajifunza. for this club.
Yes.
And now
I need to open the link where the
at the moment
Things
we'll ask
are-
for social
main hustle, it's something we do on the side. I have a feeling the game's about to start. Maybe we can have a look at that and we'll come back to these questions and see.
Yeah.
We'll respond to that exhaustively and just see what's happening.
So right now, as we can see, most guys have not yet joined yet. They're still, I guess, awaiting the opponents to log in.
All right.
Just a few comments on the match. Maybe for the guys who are joining us, this is the online Olympiad, and we are not really. The scores are in. So Kenya drew with Brunei in their first
3-3
in their first game. And the most important bit for guys to realize is that in Division 4, only 3 teams proceed to
the next phase,
to the Division 3.
Yes.
So we are really hoping that Kenya does so. If you can see on Pool A, we can see Maldives has won their game with a very big margin against Bahrain. Tanzania also lost to Nepal. We are the only team, I think, that drew in this division and Pool A. Thailand stole that from Myanmar with 3.5 against 2.5. Chinese Taipei lost to Hong Kong. I thought Chinese Taipei was going to do very well in this scenario, but unfortunately they lost to Hong Kong. So I don't know, who do you think is the favorite in this Pool A?
It's really hard to tell because, as you can see, many players are really using pseudonyms. It's not their real names.
True.
Of course, we're all rooting for Kenya. And of course, our neighbors in the South, Tanzania. Not in the next round because Tanzania is facing Kenya just in a few minutes. We really have come a long way as a country, and hopefully we'll see that performance beginning to show.
Sure.
So if you ask me which teams are going to move forward, of course, my heart says Kenya and Tanzania and maybe a Now we have 10-year-olds who can beat almost everybody, who's playing chess. You have ladies who are playing very well. I think in Kenya in particular, our national champion, Lucy Wanjiru, Sasha Mongeli, those are people who have shown tremendous talent, and I have a feeling they'll pull a couple of surprises.
Definitely. We expect a lot of surprises from our new players, especially the team that is, what's the word I'm looking for? The team that is representing Kenya in this event. The only thing I'm wondering is, do you think online chess has any impact to someone's growth in chess?
Depends on what you're doing online.
Okay.
And for sure, it's better to play online than not to play at all.
Definitely.
And I have a feeling that online chess has really contributed a lot to the growth we are seeing. It ties back to what we spoke about sub-Saharan African chess. It's just the other day we're discovering that, in fact, you don't need to calculate 50 moves ahead. You can just understand concepts, technique, ideas.
Exactly.
And sub-Saharan Africa hasn't had this privilege. I remember I learned chess at 17 years old. Then principally in university, when I figured out there's something called a center. I was already in my 20s. And there's something called weak pawns. And back then, we were sitting down on a board and just trying to figure these things out.
True.
You're competing against people who had a grandmaster coach teaching them chess for 14 hours every single day. That luxury we haven't had. But I think we're getting there because as online chess grows, there's a lot of information, a lot of content. But if you had access to while you're still coming up in chess, fighters, things could be different. I think most of what you see in Kenya today, Mehul, the development is hard. A lot of the young people coming up. It's principally because now we have access to what the world has had access to for years.
True.
And for us, it's just a few years now.
Very well said. Very well. I agree with you in that. I really think chess online has a lot of impact. And of course, there are challenges with online chess. People might be complaining about guys not being very straight at some point.
Integrity issues, yes.
But I think generally you can always say it has positive impact.
It does.
Personally, myself, I feel chess has been very good for me online. Maybe because I don't play a lot offline, but I will find time and come on board.
Incidentally, Taters, you're one of the highest rated Kenyans on chess online.
I think so.
But your OTB rating is extreme.
It is extremely low.
What's the difference?
I don't play a lot in tournaments,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe that really is another thing that we also need to have a conversation about.
Yes.
I think many Africans are very well rated, but federated events are also very few.
Yes.
And the reflection of a FIDE rating does not really reflect
The
the true strength of most players in Africa.
Yeah.
There are also very many upcoming juniors who don't even have FIDE ratings, and they're very good,
Yeah.
way better, and you might underestimate them just because they don't have a FIDE rating. So yeah, I think online chess is really creating the platform where you can play someone, a real person, maybe not an engine, real time, without really having to look for a friend to play with, So there's that advantage.
Absolutely.
Clearly.
Yeah, and I would say perhaps it goes beyond that a little bit. I've not had it said anywhere, but the fact that you can see the whole board within a very narrow field of vision, it makes it harder to miss something that's hiding
It
behind
really
another
does.
piece. Maybe that's another factor. I don't know whether it makes a difference for you.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the fact that on online chess you can touch the wrong piece, or maybe your mouse can drop a piece on the wrong square.
Oh my.
Something that doesn't really happen over the board, you know.
And the pre-move thing, you can.
Yeah. The other thing about online, you can always play very fast because you
Yes.
can pre-move and
Okay. Yeah.
pieces are not falling like they do on OTV.
For those joining us, pre-move, when you play online chess, you can actually make a couple of moves predicting what's going to happen. It's like seeing into the future. Not
True.
really, but you expect the next sequence of moves to be logical. It makes you play almost 10 moves within a few seconds. Actually, in the Legends of Chess, Magnus Carlsen beat Jan Nepomniachtchi in the Armageddon match, and I think he played over 30 moves in 17 seconds recently. I mean, it's crazy stuff. And I think online chess, it's not just your brain and your mind and knowledge, also your fingers.
Yeah,
and
they have
strength
to
of the
be
mouse.
exactly. You need to have very good internet,
Yeah.
a good mouse, a good machine.
And your fingers have to be
Clearly.
well connected to your mind.
Yeah, like in this case, maybe I suspect Mehul may have lost due to technical issues. Yeah, the game he's just lost right now to the guy from Brunei might be an indication of some
Technical
exactly.
Most likely internet.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest disadvantages of online chess. As much as we love playing online, there's a disadvantage that the fact you can lose due to power cut, internet disconnection or something like that.
So when do the next game start? Do you have?
We are hoping that the game starts in a few minutes. We just need to confirm. We just need to keep checking when they go back.
Yeah.
We shall also be having some few guests to come and give us an insight of what's going on from the ground. The captain, Ben Magana, at some point shall be joining us live.
Yeah.
We shall get to hear what he thinks about this event. But most of all, we want to thank everyone who's watching live. Anyone who at any one point has supported this. We thank a lot Brian Kidula. He's been working behind the scenes. Chess Kenya, the likes of Gilbert Wandera. We thank them a lot for giving us this opportunity. Also, FIDE, chess.com.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much to talk about and to thank for this event being happening.
Yeah, and indeed, chess.com is one of those unique platforms. I think if you're out there thinking about whether you want to, play chess, take it up, learn, if you're inspired, actually you could log on to chess.com. There are quite a number of interesting options. Learning puzzles. There's a new game online called Puzzle Rush.
Yeah, I just learned it from you today.
You make multiple moves within a few seconds, and you see amazing things. There's a fantastic video series that I ever watched. Learning rook endgames is very hard.
Oh yeah.
But Danny Rensch has made a fantastic online from beginner to master in rook endgames. Danny Rensch is an IM. He's one of the funniest guys you've ever met. I don't know, he's not a grandmaster. Danny, if you're hearing, tell us why you're not a grandmaster. And he's started a show, Adopt a Danny, where he plays Nakamura, he plays all these guys who, if they can beat him 7 games in a row, 10 games in a row, I don't remember, then he's adopted. And he's adopted a couple of times, but he's extremely strong. When they commentate with the Grandmaster Robert, it's such a fantastic duo. Yeah, so I'm digressing a little bit. The online video on Rook Endgames is an absolute must-watch if you're serious about chess. And maybe at some point they'll allow us to just, have a look at the previews of it.
Awesome.
It makes Rook Endgames fairly easy. And multiple videos exist on the same.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I can just try and explain a bit about the format of this Olympiad.
Yeah.
So this Olympiad has around 163 players in general. So in each category, only 6 players are allowed to play at any one point. And you need to have at least one player who is under 20, meaning a junior in this case, and at least 2 women, and at least one junior who's also under 10 and is a girl.
All right.
Yes. So in stage 1, there are 5 divisions. So we have the best divisions that started the event
Much earlier.
So now this is division 4.
Yes.
Where Kenya is at the moment. And in this division, we have, I don't know how many players. How many players do you have in this division? Maybe I can just check quickly. So each division has 50 teams. All right. And so in base division, for example, 12 teams qualified.
Out of 30, I think.
Yeah, out of 30. Out of 30.
Yes.
You're right. So 12 teams qualified, and now they are playing with us in the 4th division.
Yes.
In division 4. So in division 4 now we have 50 teams in total. And out of these 50 teams, only 15 will qualify to division 3. Yeah, so I hope it's a unique format. We're not used to this, but we hope that we'll get to understand it as we go forward. So at this point they'll play 3 rounds today.
All right.
So they're just done with round 1. Kenya is playing in pool A of division 4.
All right.
A lot of terminology, a lot of classes and groups,
Yes.
but nonetheless, that's how it is. So maybe we can just maybe take a small break before they start the games.
Sure.
And I hope our viewers can just be a bit patient as we wait for them. It's going to be an interesting match now that we've drawn in the first round. Let's see if Kenya will win the next game.
And don't go away, because in the intervening period, we are going to challenge Titus to take puzzle rush. Let's see what he's able to score in 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I'll see how that works out.
How that works. And just to inspire somebody out there, take up chess, in this COVID era, stay home, learn a sport, and that sport be chess. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Welcome back into round 2 of the Division 4, where Kenya is now playing Tanzania. So let's see how our players do in this round. So at the moment on our screen, as you can see, Mehul is playing a gentleman called Njau from Tanzania. Maybe just to check the board at the moment. So Mehul playing white, and we can see they play the Tromposki attack. So the moment Njau has played bishop to e7, and this is going to be an interesting match considering they both castled opposite. Mehul castled on the short side, yet Njau has gone on the long side. So at this point, I don't know, maybe the best move, what do you think is the best move for white?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the start of this game, Tetras, and I'm seeing it was Mehul's favorite Tromposki. You can predict he's going to play it after knight f6. He sort of mastered some serious lines. I was a bit too lazy to study it. I had some instruction from Grandmaster Roman Djindjihashvili. Some nice videos against the Tromposki, but it required about 8 hours. I just didn't have the 8 hours to put in. So I stopped playing knight f6 on move 1 because of Mehul in particular. But Mehul plays it regularly. He does very well. And the line that was chosen by Njau is one of the common lines. Just allow the doubling of the pawns. If you look at the pawn sitting on the f file, f7 and f6. But the trade-off is that now the bishop sitting on e8 could be developed immediately without much movement. And also now black has a bishop pair. And so in this kind of a situation, it's sort of what we call dynamic equality. Is a trade-off. The fact that the pawns are sitting, 2 of them on the same file, that's called a doubled pawn.
Definitely,
double pawns, and they are sort of weaker. There's a weakness to it. It's debatable whether this weakness is good enough to justify giving up your extra bishop, because the other advantage in chess that's very common is that 2 bishops working together is a real advantage. The people who will never allow you to take 2 bishops. One is Magnus Carlsen, another is Vishen, and another is, of course, Garry Kasparov. You give them 2 bishops in an endgame, you can as well resign.
I know those guys can be beasts with those bishops. And in this case, I don't know, maybe as much as black has 2 bishops, I don't like the dark squared one, really.
Yes. Of course, because its scope seems limited.
True.
The question for those who are watching chess is, it's not just enough to have enough pieces, but to have them do something useful.
Exactly.
So where do you take the bishop to? And in this situation, when the bishop moves, you should go to a place where it's doing something particular. What worries me a little bit, and I'm not very well versed with the structure, you can see Mehul has played the move e3 and d3, allowing sort of weakness on the light squares. In the center, and then also he's played g3. So then you have the bishop. Those light squares are a bit weak, and if I were black, I would think of a way to exchange off that light squared bishop.
True. And
perhaps have a slight advantage. But if I do that, the risk is I'm left with the bishop that looks pretty bad. The dark squared bishop for black. I think there is hope for it, though.
Do you think in this position Mehul has won a pawn? The pawn on d5 looks like the knight can capture the pawn. I don't know, because I'm not seeing. Okay, just a moment. I'm not seeing a scenario where the knight is falling. I think Mehul grabbed the pawn.
He's taken it actually.
It looked free.
It was a free pawn.
It was a free pawn.
Okay, and that's not good news for black.
And of course, c4 is coming maybe after rook.
No, actually, you play it immediately. Play c4 immediately.
Oh yeah, you can play it immediately.
If he picks the pawn, you just bring the rook down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's just much better.
Wow, I think this is winning for Mehul.
Should be.
Should be winning.
Winning is a bit on the extreme side, but sure.
Because it should be winning for him.
Yeah.
Maybe we can check out another game.
Yes,
Mehul currently playing black against Geoffrey Mwanyika. Yes.
I think Geoffrey Mwanyika has actually played in a couple of tournaments in East Africa. He's one of the better known names, if I'm not mistaken, and I think
nice.
he's a pretty decent player. Like other African countries, they are highly underrated, and so looking at the ratings may not be good enough.
True.
And I don't think just looking through the game, Methu is black. It's still, and this is a strange move that he played. Second move he played F3, and
yeah.
it's a very strange move order. Methu is faithful to the setup that he normally plays: C5, E6, A6, Knight F3, Queen C7. You can pretty much expect him to do that. I've prepared something for him in future. We'll see over the board. So it's something interesting that was played, and very early on by move 6, I think black really should have been fairly okay. But then this is rapid, and rapid things.
By move 6, where he played bishop to F3.
Bishop to
G5.
G5, yes. Bishop G5, because of basically development, you'd find that white wasn't fully developed around that. Slightly behind in development, has some weaknesses around the dark squares, and I'm not sure. Maybe instead of the check, there's a slightly better move.
You mean that on move 6, or where black or Methu checked on move 7?
Maybe checked. Maybe just put the bishop to task and ask it, what do you want? Do you want to go back and defend go back to E3, or you want to go back to H4? And I think that's a really serious question to be put.
So you mean after queen check, if queen check on A5, you mean there was a better move? You felt there was a better move at this point?
The queen check isn't bad because you develop the queen. It's just that I really felt on G5, black has to make a decision because H6 basically attacks the bishop.
True.
If you go back one moment, just to show what I'm referring to.
I go back a moment.
Yes. So in that position,
so instead of checking on
checking immediately, first question is to just put a question to the bishop, play H6. And that question is a really important question because white has very few options. One is to take the knight sitting on F6, which is bishop for knight. For no good reason, I think that will not be a good idea.
Definitely.
Second is to go back to E3, which is probably the bishop's best line, because you can see there's a weakness along that G1 A7 diagonal.
True.
And then the other is to misplace the bishop and go down to H4. And so you're wasting an extra move. Plus, eventually in these kinds of positions, you'll find H6 has meaning. One, you're creating space for your king. And number two, you're taking away that G5 square for a long time. So really, I would be quite interested in such a move. But what he played isn't bad. It's just that I would not ordinarily think of playing that fast.
So Methu has played knight to E5. I don't know. I felt like maybe he had a better move at this point. Knight E5.
Yeah, let me just catch up with you.
Let's see. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether letting go of that bishop was the best thing around move. Okay. So
we're on move 18. Move 18. We are currently on move 18, but it seems Mwanyika knows some few things about chess. I agree with you. He's playing some really nice chess.
Yes.
Because after knight E5, he's played F4, attacking the knight. And I think in this case, Methu he's kind of forced to play knight to G4,
knight
and now he's threatening a fork.
And actually, looking back, you may actually find that the move F4 was not a very good move. Why? Because it leaves a lot of weaknesses. The most important weakness being the square on E3.
True.
And knights really like spaces where they can just go and pop in without any problem whatsoever.
Exactly.
And E3 is one square.
Yeah.
So knight to G4 already threatens fork on F2.
On F2.
And you cannot, you probably have to exchange.
Exactly.
I'm not particularly enthusiastic in this kind of open position with pawns on both sides of the board. It may look like a very simple thing now, but having a bishop versus a knight is a really big advantage.
True. And this bishop can be an advantage for white, right?
It can, absolutely. And at this juncture, I'd probably want to kick out the knight sitting on G4 find out where it's going, and then give myself some space, because my bishop eventually will probably want to go to something like d3, but I can't do that right now.
Do you think at this point, do you think h3 is a good move for white now?
I think so. I think you have to play it, because you that knight has to make a decision.
Yeah, it has to move.
Yeah, it can either go to f2 or it can go to e2, and
E2,
wherever it goes to
e3.
E3 makes a decision. I mean, it helps us make a decision on where we are putting our bishop. I would imagine that perhaps either you don't have an option really. You
really don't.
Yeah, you sort of have to attack the rook and then perhaps relocate the knight back to e4, and perhaps or even d6. Eventually, it's a bit of a path to pursue.
Wow. He saw h3. I also think h3 was the move to play. So let's see what Mehul will do. Maybe at this point knight f2 is better than e3.
Yes, knight f2 looks better, because e3, I think immediately white can follow up with g4. So the pawn ceases to be attacked, and the other knight is already feeling a bit suffocated. He doesn't have many squares to go to.
True.
So he's played knight e3.
Knight e3. Maybe he's intending to play knight e3, then follow up with rook to c8.
Rook to d1, you mean?
Not d1, maybe rook to c8.
Rook to c8,
attacking c2, but still very not so promising. This position is not, it's not clear. I don't think white can say has an advantage really.
Immediately, but one of the things that I've gotten very cautious of is the impact of long-term imbalances. So the small details. There's this author called Jeremy Silman. He's written a very nice book, How to Reassess Your Chess, and he tells us that chess is about imbalances.
Exactly.
And when I was growing up, I used to think that grandmasters calculate 50 moves ahead. This goes down to a guy called Kevin Somondi, who convinced me that a GM, he can calculate the whole game in 30 minutes, vision and stuff like that. But in fact, what they've learned to do is to make best use of their pieces.
It's true.
So in a situation like this, just having a knight versus bishop is a key difference.
It's a key imbalance.
The second issue, if you look at the number of pawns on the queen side for white, and the number of pawns on the queen side for black, white has 3 on the queen side versus 2, and then 4 versus 3 on the king side.
Very true.
Now history has shown that having a queen side majority is an advantage. You can easily push them, create a passed pawn, and that pawn becomes a queen.
Exactly.
Sounds very simple, but that's just the that's the entirety of it, and it works like a charm. The only issue is perhaps where to place this rook. Is not very active for white. And maybe if white can achieve some level of simplicity, it will
I
be
think
good.
Rook G1 can really help.
Yes.
Intending to play G5 and just break that king side.
Absolutely. And in fact, maybe even better than G5 is to bring the rook up, and attack the knight. It can be defended by knight D5. So I'm trying to figure out, this knight sitting on E3 is a bit of a thorn. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I'm tempted to play king D2, but then
it's quite
king
annoying
D2,
actually.
It's very annoying.
Very.
But then the challenge with making D2 is that then the knight will just pop up one bit. It's a bit complicated.
Very complicated. Maybe
Can we scan a few other games?
We can actually check on Mongeli. Mongeli is also playing at the moment.
Yes, please.
And she's playing Zahabia Ibrahim.
Whoa! And this looks promising.
This looks promising.
It does. First and foremost, there's a mate threat sitting.
There's a threat on queen takes h7.
H7 followed by queen h8 mate.
Yeah.
And if you pick the knight sitting on g5, of course the rook behind it. That's also mate.
If you take queen takes the rook on e8 mate.
So g6 is forced.
It's quite sad. This is serious.
I think g6 is forced. You have to play g6. But then for g6, I'm still imagining where would you play?
After g6, you can still play queen to wait. Let's see. After g6, I think the best move here would be knight f3.
No, g6. I'll leave my knight where it is.
Or maybe just d5.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. What would have gone to my mind first was probably transfer my queen to h4.
Maybe you just maintain. I agree. Maybe you can maintain the pressure instead of removing the knight.
Yeah. And then after e4, after h5, maybe what would be a good move there? Let me see. Uh-huh.
After h5.
After h5. I can't see how to continue because I don't think g4 really works. It's weakening. Let's see how that goes. But certainly there's a lot of pressure here. And
but she actually did play g6.
g6 is forced. I don't think you have an alternative to g6.
Yeah, it's actually the only good move at this point.
Absolutely. So
maybe rook e3.
d5. How can we add pressure? Because queen h4.
What if you try and play something like h4, h5? Does it really work?
Yeah, there's an interesting story actually, because lately h4, h5 has become like the new thing.
Yeah, it's the new attack.
And this is because of the neural networks, the Lila chess, if you've heard about it.
True.
And Alpha Zero.
Yeah.
And now every grandmaster is playing, h4, h5.
Yeah.
I'm seeing there's a recent game again recently. World champion Magnus Carlsen was playing the fans' favorite Anish Giri, and they were playing Aragozin, which is something d4, d5,
Yeah.
c4, e6, then knight c3, knight f6, and then bishop comes g4. Now, at some point, Magnus played his bishop to g5. Then it was chased away, h6,
Yeah.
the ever yes, comes back to e2, and then Anish Giri absent-mindedly castled, and Magnus just played g4 straight up.
Castle short.
Castled, Anish Giri castled short, and Magnus just played g4, just leaving the pawn there to be picked if you'd like. And Anish couldn't recover. So again, the two moves, they become very aggressive, h4, g4, and lately it's sort of the in thing. And you have to be very careful about them. So yes, at this juncture we say h4 is always a good move.
It is.
If your opponent has castled that side.
Especially when you have some good attacking pieces and on the king side. You can definitely, if your pieces are coordinating on the king side of your opponent, you can easily play h4, h5.
Yeah. The two things about it. Back in the classical chess era, classical era is when people used to pay attention to most of the principles. Don't attack in the flank. If you're attacking the flank, you'll be attacking the center. Close the center first, those kinds of things. And they used to say that play h4 when your rook is sitting on h1.
Yeah.
But now people play h4 and they castle, king side. So it's really just to push the pawn forward. It's marching all the way. If you don't stop it, it's going all the way to h6. And or it's going to exchange and open a file. And it's just from there, Bobby Fischer's sackmate.
It's actually something developing in chess, like you said. I've realized that a lot of players going for the H file, opening the H file is becoming the in thing. In fact, I did a book, I actually read a book about the A and the H file, just how to manage those two files. It's really interesting. I can't remember the topic, but it's an online ebook.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we can just check out another game. At the moment, the game looks a bit still okay for White is still doing very well.
Yeah.
For Mongeli. I didn't see it being necessary to remove the knight and play. I don't know where the knight is heading to. Maybe it's trying to relocate to d3 and maybe come back with e5.
Well, that could be actually a pretty high. How do you stop that, by the way?
I don't know.
Maybe c5 at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll. But if you play c5, the pawn can pass. Becomes
I think at this point, the biggest advantage that Mongeli has is the fact that she's a pawn up. And with very good, the fact that she's controlling the e file at the moment. Yeah. But I think exchanging the rooks might help Black even out.
A little bit, because it does have a very strong bishop. The bishop has...
True. That bishop has very good, exactly. It has very good scope.
But I find the Black king a bit windy. The pawns have been moved ahead. And just for those who are listening, you don't want to move the pawns in front of your king.
So the position is also still not so clear.
It's not so clear.
Not so clear. Let's check out
Mclegaire. Let's look at Mclegaire, because the young man for sure has shown a lot of promise.
True.
I don't know how much effort is put. I think that's the one weakness. We don't put in as much effort as we could, just to see what's going on there.
Let's see Mclegaire.
It's quite unfortunate. He's a piece down. How did he lose it? He's a bishop down. I suspect it was a sacrifice.
Oh, yeah. So Mclegaire playing Black with some very decent rating against Cleopas Charles. And Mclegaire seems to be a piece down. True.
He is a piece down. Oh, and he's exchanging the queens. That's probably not what we want to do. And that's essentially lost. I think you do that.
This is very lost.
Yeah, that's completely lost. I think that one there'll be no recovery, especially with the bishop. The bishop is coming to.
Because white is very okay.
Yeah, and now there's
this monstrous bishop.
Look at the pawn on a5.
Yeah, the pawn on a5.
That's falling, and then that pawn becomes a queen.
It's irredeemable.
And of course, then the next pawn sitting on b5 is also.
And actually,
falling.
black has nothing.
Black has no counterplay whatsoever. So unfortunately, this is going to be a loss for Kenya.
Yeah. This seems like with.
Yeah, maybe Titus, you need to explain why you'd say this is a loss.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah,
just to give a simple plan for white would be just capture the pawn on a5.
Yeah.
And just simple plan and try and promote the a pawn.
Yeah. So, but other than that, that's very.
And
simple.
then all these black pawns are sitting badly. So the fact that you take this pawn and maybe reroute the rook back to b5 and attack. Just take. I think just take
when I was learning chess, we used to think about chess like this. You see a position and then you say, okay, I can move here, you can move here, I can move here, you can move here.
Yeah.
That's very laborious. It was in line with our thinking that grandmasters see the whole game from the start.
True.
But I've lately learned that they don't actually do that.
They don't do
the
that.
feature of the position. And you look at a couple of factors. The first thing is just material. Immediately you can see white is a bishop up.
Exactly.
So really that's better. But of course, in chess, you can be a queen up and lose the game.
True.
So it's not just that. Second item is pawn structure.
Yeah.
So immediately you see that black has 3 pawn islands. A pawn island is a cluster of pawns.
Exactly.
The pawn on a5 and b4,
Yeah.
the pawn on d4, and then the 2 pawns on g7 and h6.
True.
The third thing you see is that black has an isolated pawn on d4. That's very weak.
Very weak.
Has a backward pawn on a5 that can be picked.
Yeah.
And so the pawn weaknesses are just bad. They can be attacked.
And another very important thing to note is this light squared bishop
Yes.
has a lot of scope, and you can even try and see if you can relocate it to even become a better bishop.
Not only that, you look at king safety and you wonder which king is the safer of the two.
Exactly.
So when you talk about the light squared bishop having scope, you look at all those light squares next to the black king, the weak back rank, immediately move the bishop from b3 to g6, and all of a sudden you're talking about checkmate.
Exactly.
So in this situation, you don't have to think about anything. There are multiple moves that can result in a win. The exchange of the rook, that's of course you don't want to do that because the rook is winning a pawn. Win the pawn, transfer the bishop, make a weaving knight. True. Multiple plans just win. And so in this situation, it's not worthwhile to play on. So the features of the position say that white is better, not because I move here, you move there.
True. In fact, Mclegaire just resigned the game.
Yeah.
Maybe we can check out another player. Mongeli was playing. We actually just saw her game.
Can we look at Vulcan?
Yeah, Vulcan.
Oh, is Lucy Wanjiru?
Yes.
Oh, she's won her game already.
Oh, she did.
Yes.
Awesome.
Should I be saying WCM Lucy Wanjiru? I think
exactly.
I'm doing a disservice. Lucy, forgive me.
It's all right.
I remember I played Lucy about 3 years ago when I was coming back from work to chess a little bit competitive, and it was a blitz event at YMCA, YWC actually. Yeah. And I was paired with her, I think it was the last rounds, and I was taken aback by just the quality of her chess. Then I had to ask her, because we hadn't had very many strong lady chess players.
True.
When she told me she'd been playing for just about a year, and you're giving so much pain with all my experience. So right there and then I knew she's gonna do well.
She's actually she's one of the most promising girls, lady players we have in Kenya.
Yeah.
Together with Joyce Nyarwai. I like the fact that 5 years down the line, chess for the ladies has really improved.
Yeah.
New faces, new strength, a lot of promise, and like what we've been having in the past. I think it's a general challenge with chess for ladies. What do you think? Do ladies excel very well in chess in other countries?
Well, globally it's been an issue, but I think it's largely because of what we face in our country, where for a lady to succeed, they have to not only overcome the same challenge you overcome as a man, but also sort of certain glass ceilings that have been set. So you have to work twice as hard to achieve something because of the society has been done, and you have to really begin to change that. And Judith Polgar showed that it's not a man's sport.
Wow.
She could beat like 99% of the world's male population.
True.
And she was in the top 10 of chess. Hu Yifan is a fantastic, strong player.
Very
You know, it's just, and Lucy, even here in Kenya, Joyce Nyaruai has won some cage matches, if I'm not mistaken, and I think they are really,
actually, yeah.
they're really strong players. And and all the ladies listening out there, chess is a sport that is not gender biased. The gender bias is as a result of maybe decades of under-supporting of the female gender.
It's been set by the past, but it's not there anymore.
Absolutely.
Wow, so I'm looking at Mehul at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He's just exchanged the bishop. He doesn't want his opponent to have that bishop, but
that's a pretty good achievement, I must say.
And I think black looking fine. He's just stolen a pawn on h5.
Yeah.
And actually, that's it. I think this is now looking very good for black.
It is. Now, the only limitation here is the rook endgame possibility, but here I think it's really bad because if you exchange off the rook, then immediately you can play f6, and f6, then you have two connected pass pawns on e6 and f6, so that's pretty much lost. I expect maybe to convert this.
Yeah.
If you're looking at this probably online, you may see it's a very small advantage, but the reality of it is that's a very big advantage.
It
and
is.
Really, this is just possibly winning.
I think at this point, Mehul should just take over the d file with the rook. Rook d8 and...
I'm not sure. The key thing now...
I don't like f5. He's just played f5.
No, you have... Oh, okay. f5 actually probably... You see, the thing about the plan he has to pursue, I think, is to create a passed pawn and begin to push. The only problem with that is there is a risk that you could leave your knight in a pin.
Yeah.
And that's probably not what you want to do. But I think he can safely pick with the pawn.
Yeah.
Because after the pin, he can play... Oh, he picked with the knight.
He picked with the knight. I think he was afraid of rook
the
h3.
pin, yeah, rook h3.
The pin is annoying.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out how that could work, but maybe it's not the easiest thing. Oh. Okay, I don't like the pawn capture, but again, he has two passed pawns, not connected, but the passed pawns actually, push. Click the passed pawns and then push. That's the plan.
Wow,
it's just that I'm not expecting. It is better if the passed pawns are connected.
True. So of course, at this point, you also can realize Geoffrey Mwanyika having some time trouble, 13 seconds on the clock, and Mehul, by nature, he's a very fast player.
He has a minute.
He has a minute, which is much more than enough.
Okay, so here, to exchange or not to exchange? To exchange, yes, because your king is much closer to this pawn, and this is basically a 0-1. I think.
Yeah, this looks like a 0-1, because these two pawns are passed, and the king is well placed. Maybe White should try and
make his own passer.
Yeah, just try and create some imbalance, because at the moment he's just defending.
Absolutely. And here I think is a bit of a mistake by
White.
By White. I think he's losing the plot of it. But also Mehul should have kept the pawn behind the passed pawn, the rook behind the passed pawn. That's where the pawns belong. I think at this juncture it's a bit tricky. Had he played that move earlier, it's.
This is looking interesting.
I think the rook belongs behind the passed pawn.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my view. I think it's what's been said many times.
King e4. What about rook h2? He has to go down. He has to go up or down.
Now, if he goes down, he's completely lost. Because now, how do you stop the pawn on the g5?
No, this is bad.
You use a tuk-tuk?
This is bad. Yeah, this is bad for White.
Yeah,
I think Mehul can just take the pawn on b2, and knights.
He's just done that.
Yeah.
So now you black can't even hope to pick the other pawn on a7 because it's defended.
Yeah.
So
so at the moment the scores are 1-1. For Kenya and Tanzania.
So if you're wondering why now Mwanyika has more time, it's simply because you get 5 seconds with every move that you make. This is an increment which makes it very easy and comfortable.
Yeah.
I think here...
This team Hong Kong seems to be a big deal.
Hong Kong is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
A big deal. You see, in chess, like every other sport, there are teams that have... there are countries that have invested in training. Oh my goodness, did Mehul... Oh no, he'll survive. I thought he lost his rook. After the rook is picked, he's just going to queen. But I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah,
It's
it was
just
unnecessary.
stylistically funny, but after rook takes f2, he just queens. And now the king can come to f3, e2, f1, and make a queen.
Exactly.
White can resign here. White can resign. It's just completely lost. I think,
It's actually lost.
Mhm.
King F1
King
and then
F1,
that's it, yeah.
Queen, just, I mean, it's lights out.
Very
Good
bad.
stuff, Mehul. So Lucy has won.
Yeah, Lucy has
how are the
won.
other games? I think I'm expecting Monyika to resign here.
Let me check them
Oh, he's
out.
not resigning. Okay.
Monyika seems to be... He's a fighter. Maybe he's intending to hope that
Yeah,
black...
there are things you can fight for others you really shouldn't. For instance, if he moves one of the... I'll just make another queen on the e file.
Yeah.
If he moves any one of the pawns I capture,
Yeah.
then I can sacrifice. In fact, right now, just play...
You can actually just play rookie. You can... even that is
I would
fine.
have waited for him to go up a little bit. Okay, you can come down one move.
Oh, yeah. And then you go for rook A1.
Yeah, but
And
the
then
challenge is
push.
you can come to it and just... Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, there's nothing tricky here. It's just lights out anything.
Yeah, everything is just looking obvious for black.
I was thinking he can harass the rook by playing king e2, but that's a mistake because king goes to b4, rook goes to b4.
True.
That's a fork. Choose the one you want to lose.
Yeah.
Resigning is an option always.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect
Rook
also.
f5.
But you never know. Sometimes
Yeah.
in online chess, mouse slips happen. Maybe
Mm.
Mehul might mouse slip and...
King
and-
f2 here. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
king
then
F2.
just walk the pawn home.
and the pawn just has...
Mhm. There's no stalemate possibility here. It's just lights out.
Completely.
So this is probably mate in something. Maybe mate in... Yeah, and that's
yeah,
an
and
information right there.
Monyika resigns.
Any ongoing game?
I think at the moment all Kenyan players have finished playing. I just need to
Mhm.
confirm the exact score.
All right.
Um,
I think Mehul has won. Mehul won.
yeah,
Sasha
Mehul
won.
Yeah.
No, no. Did Sasha win?
Mclegaire is only lost. I think we... Sasha yet to confirm. Actually, I
Lucy
don't-
won.
Yeah, Lucy won.
Okay. That looks like a 4. Yeah, well done to Kenya. We love you Tanzania. Sisi nyinyi ni watu
Ni
wetu,
mandugu.
mandugu zetu.
Yeah.
Lakini hivi sasa kulikuwa na mchuano wa mechi ya chess. Na hivi sasa basi sio vizuri sana kuwapa ule muda wa kujibamba. Now we can go back to cheering Tanzania after this one brotherly chat.
True.
For those watching from abroad, Kenya and Tanzania, we are neighbors, very closely related. We love you, southern neighbors, Tanzania.
Exactly. So at the moment we seek just to take maybe a small break before they resume the next round. About the puzzle rush, maybe we can do it after the break.
All right.
I don't know how it works, but I've seen it happening a lot on chess.com.
Yeah.
I'd like to understand how does it work really.
So you have 3 minutes,
Mhm.
or 3. You can choose puzzle rush 3 minutes or puzzle rush 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and you have to solve as many puzzles as you can within that time. So it's good stuff.
All
We'll
right.
give it a
So
try.
does it have like levels and?
No, the puzzles get harder as you go along.
Okay.
Just that. And I think someone has solved probably 60 puzzles in 3 minutes.
That's a
60
lot.
puzzles in
That's
3
a
minutes.
lot. Meaning every puzzle a second. 2 minutes. Wait, no.
Well,
3 seconds for
3
every.
seconds.
3 seconds for every.
You can hardly figure out who goes where, and they're not easy puzzles. Some of them are crazy stuff. So we'll have a look at it.
I'll try it.
Coming
out.
right up.
Thank you very much, guys, and subscribe to our channel if you've not done so. Chess Academy is the hosting institution for this event. Thanks a lot, Brian Kidula, for this opportunity. It was well organized by Terian in conjunction with Prox. Thanks a lot, Ngani. This is such an awesome event. So I think we still have one more round to talk about.
Yeah.
After the break.
Mm.
We need to confirm the time it's starting, but before that, we'll do the puzzle rush as we update you guys with what's happening.
Great.
Thanks,
So
guys.
don't go away. Stay tuned. Coming
Definitely.
back shortly.
Definitely. to the third round. So at the moment we can see that the games are ongoing. And we can start with one of our main players. We can start with Mehul. Let's see Mehul first. Let's start with Mehul. Mehul playing black against Ali Al Ghasra from Bahrain. So at the moment we're playing Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we can just do a small recap on the game. Let me see what they started with. Mehul was playing black, d4, d4, d5.
Yeah, it's the 3 knights variation of Queen's Gambit declined. Pretty standard. And then this very popular move, I think c5 by Mehul on move number 6. And then this is all theory actually up to here, and perhaps just to encourage people who want to study and learn chess, that yes, there's room for theory where you sort of learn from those who've gone before you. What is it that someone else has learned from previous experience, and there are books written around positions like this, and you can read for a whole month just this one position. So this is all theory.
Actually, this is all. It's a 3 knights variation. Yeah, Queen's Gambit declined.
Yeah, at move number, the previous move before knight e5, white had the option of creating an isolated pawn for black by picking on c5.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't promise any success. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion around it. It's not something that offers any specific advantage, and perhaps it's not currently most ideal. It's been played multiple times, and right now it's not guaranteed to offer white any advantage.
Yeah, just maybe one clarification.
Mm-hmm.
It happens we did draw with Tanzania. I thought we won.
Mm-hmm.
We did lose 2 more games.
All right.
And at the moment we're playing Bahrain. I don't think it's an easy team either.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if our chances are that good in this Division 4 at the moment. Because we've drawn 2 games. Maybe still all is not lost. Because I can see Chinese Taipei were also held on a draw by Myanmar.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of drawing happening. Nepal drew with Bahrain. So let's see how this works out. So at the moment, maybe we can just delve back into the games a bit and talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
So Mehul, still in the opening stages, not much to say. Maybe we can just check out also the other players of how they're doing.
And also to the viewers, we actually have access to live chat. So if you have a question or a comment, you can leave it right there, and we'll be able to get back to you. Shout out to Keith Kumalo. Oh, Keith Kumalo is actually on the chat. Keith Kumalo is a very, very strong player in the African continent. Thank you, Keith. Calvin Souko, Bobo Diambo, Africa AJ, Moses Kwereba, Daktari, thank you very much. Isaac Mudangi, Calvin Okwot. This is great stuff. Keep the support, keep the love. We recognize you guys. Not to forget Edwin Korir, Rita Wanjiru, The Hood, Anthony Kionga, our very own Abita number 1, and FM Slayer. Thank you very much. Keep up the support.
Thank you guys for watching us live. So at the moment I can see also Mehul played the Queen's Gambit declined. The exchange position variation line.
Mm-hmm.
Still very early in the game, nothing much has happened, and he's playing an FM called Hussein Ayad. This looks very bloody. I'm really hoping to see what happens here. Mehul, in my opinion, is an FM. Only that he's not yet been given the title, but with time, I'm seeing a title with this guy.
When you say that, I've come to appreciate what it means to be an FM. It's not just that you're playing strong. There's something that goes on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
It's the hours you put in. And I think Mehul was giving us a report that he's been solving 100 puzzles every day.
True.
And that's how you become strong.
Yeah.
I keep referring to Judith a lot because it's thematic, something she was describing yesterday, and it was a very powerful testimony. Judith Polgar. And Judith Polgar's father invented the Polgar sisters, and he was a great educationist, and he came up with the theory that genius is made, not born.
True.
And so he set out to prove it by teaching his daughters chess, and true to his word, Judith Polgar became the greatest female player of all time.
Wow.
Susan Polgar was a strong chess player, and there's a third sister also. And I think that shows us that yes, there's a role for talent, but there's a big part in effort. And so Mehul has been putting in tremendous hours.
I agree.
And it shows. So FM, I think that's underrating Mehul a little bit.
He's
heading towards IM.
I agree.
And that's the kind of faith you have in you. Mehul, if you're watching us, go sir.
Definitely. I really have a lot of hope in Mehul. I believe he's one of the players that people need to watch out for.
Yeah.
He's the guy, if we're talking about getting a grandmaster in Kenya, if we can really push him harder, I think we could be having the guy. He has a lot of love for the game. He's always determined. The talent is there.
Yeah.
I think it's just the element of time.
Maybe not time entirely. You also need proper instruction, because I'm not sure there are many grandmasters who have become grandmasters without being taught real chess. If you heard of the Russian schools, the Botvinnik School of Chess that gave rise to all the Kasparovs and very many world champions.
Yeah.
It's very dedicated to chess, and they're learning from some of the greatest theoreticians in chess. So it's hard to reinvent that wheel.
I agree.
It's like trying to create a spacecraft from scratch.
Yeah.
If we brought proper instruction into Kenya, into sub-Saharan Africa, I promise you'll be seeing the top 100 looking very different in the next 10 years. That's just the way life goes.
I agree completely with that fact. So I'm just seeing some games going around. So at the moment I'm having a game of Lucy Wanjiru against Zainab Alafo, and the game seems to have gone fast. They seem to be already in the middle game.
Yeah.
I kind of like black.
Yeah,
it's quite unfortunate that black looks really good here. I really wish.
The main issue is that the pieces, I don't see how to coordinate.
Yeah, this H file is looking bad.
Oh my goodness, and that piece looks completely gone.
And please note, blocking with the rook is not such a plan, because now the bishop that is still yet to develop
is lost.
This is bad.
That's lost. Lucy needs to do
This
something miraculous to survive this.
This is really bad.
Yeah. She doesn't have an alternative, and I think even giving up the rook doesn't help.
Yeah.
Because after rook takes, you may exchange the queens, but you're losing an exchange here for sure. And after that exchange loss, it's going to be really tough.
This is serious.
The worst part is after rook e3, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes e3, queen takes e3, rook takes e3, and you still don't have a clear escape, because you're attacking the bishop hanging on d3, and also you're threatening rook, at some point to skewer if you can force the king out of g1. So it's not. This is really unfortunate.
This is hard to solve. Eh?
Was it a one move mistake? Was it a one move mistake?
Maybe we can check that out. And we just talked about this H file a few minutes ago, but it seemed it worked against. So at this point, maybe we can just go back a bit.
Yeah, let's see what happened. How did she get into that?
So at this point, she looks fine. So she played. Zainab played knight h7.
Can you go back a little bit, see how the game started?
We can start from the beginning.
So e4. Wow. Yeah, I found this system to be quite difficult to beat. Magnus Carlsen employs
this is the Park defense.
Park defense. Yeah. And it's intimately linked to the modern. Modern also starts just g6, and it's surprisingly difficult. In the classical chess, this was meant to be really bad, but now it's gotten its footing. And their systems, probably the system you want to look at is the 150 attack against the pack.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not called the pack, we call it the Piats.
Yeah.
Some very complex, but for the sake of this presentation, call it the pack. Forgive us if you're mutilating the term. It's called the Piats, but we call it the pack for now. And yeah, it's gotten its footing. I think Lucy did very well here. Even the move.
I think at this point, Bishop E3 would have been better before you develop the knight, so that you don't have a knight blocking your bishop.
Okay, but I think the plan she has was to move
was to relocate the bishop and reroute it to the king side. The knight, sorry.
The knight, yes,
to rotate. Okay. So
that plan works very well in the Rui Lopez, the Spanish game. The problem is that in this situation, when the knight gets to either G3 or E3, already the squares it can go to, which is F5 and H5, are already protected, or even D5, and so it's not a useful plan, and it's just wasteful. Perhaps just to keep track of that, because knight lands on G3, but there's nothing it's doing because the squares are already defended. So right now, very simple plan from that move. You can imagine white is fine, but
I think now here is where this is the move.
That was a mistake.
This is
because you don't have a defender for that,
and that's how the H file opened. Because now after the exchange,
and now pawn is gone.
She sucked.
But that's not a bad move actually.
It is not a bad move.
Yeah, you cannot pick, because you pick there is going to be a check. But if you pick here first, what happens? If you pick on
so
E3
you mean
first,
if he takes
E3, what happens after
sorry,
E3?
if you say if he takes, what happens?
A queen picks, and then if you pick the bishop on E3, rook picks, and I think you can't stop mate really. You can see you can just put in the moves on the board if you can.
So if he takes
there, queen takes.
If she takes,
then rook takes.
So rook takes.
That's a free rook lift, and that's a king sitting on, and I think that can't be good.
This is bad.
So that would be bad. But then I'm wondering what happens in this situation. Just go back, instead of picking the knight, if you pick the bishop first on E3. Or same thing, just transposes. Just pick and pretend nothing has happened. Wow, that's a nice find by Lucy. I'm just quite sad that
she's a piece down.
She's a piece down now. So
I think the whole problem was after this exchange.
I think but it's a really wow. That maybe picking back. Right, even I think. Wow, that was a nice move by Lucy.
Maybe retreating the knight was okay.
Yeah, maybe you should have retreated the knight, because then the knight is a bit cumbersome where it is.
Yeah.
Because picking on F6 developed the black queen and bringing the queen closer.
In fact, at this point,
maybe start running away with your king.
So after king G7, which of course has the obvious plan of bringing rook to H8. This is the point you should have played F3.
Yeah, give your king some safety, some
yeah. After F3, she's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see.
Not entirely, because I also don't like the pin and the pieces become a bit coordinated.
Because think after F3. Wait. After F3, in case you come there, I can always relocate.
Yeah, but you see the big risk is this pin on the rook. So queen H4
queen H4 here.
And getting out of that pin becomes very complicated. So as much as it looks fairly okay for now, I'm not sure how you disentangle.
I think after queen H3, I play queen D2, and then I can always come to G5 with my queen.
That could work. It's better than how the game went for sure.
True.
But I think Lucy should have been a little bit better. Somewhere after that, complications around knight takes H4. Somehow the follow-up wasn't very good.
Okay, let's see what really happened here.
I think she gave up the rook on A1.
He must have actually, because she's a rook down.
Yeah, she gave up the rook.
So after this move, she moved the king and gave up the rook on A1.
Okay.
Wow.
So that, no problem. That requires prayers. Let's look at another move. Another game.
Check another game.
Mclegaire, how is he doing?
Let's see how Mclegaire is doing this time round. And Mclegaire at this point playing white. He seems to be having an attack as much as the game looks drawish, but he seems okay.
Could be even better, I think.
Yeah.
Could even be better. Let me see what's going on here.
So we have like this pawn hanging. We have some very good attack by the queen, by the rook and the queen.
Wow. Just look at this move. Look at that check from h5. If you play bishop e3, f3, bishop f3.
Bishop f3.
Yeah. We are just planning to. How do you stop that? How do you stop that check?
Interesting.
How do you stop that check?
I think the only way is to move king to e7.
And then you follow that up with knight takes f5.
Knight takes f5.
Yes, knight takes
check.
After so
So
what?
move.
Let's.
Knight
How if you
takes
play
it.
that?
Hey, this is bad.
You can't pick.
This is bad.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to review my thinking. I think after bishop f3,
Yes.
I think queen c2.
Queen c2.
Yeah.
Queen c2. Okay. Queen c2. I check you nonetheless.
If you check me, maybe I can move to king to e7.
King to e7. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens?
Because now I'm protecting my pawn on f.
You are okay. Attack. Can I threaten a check down there? Rook b6. Rook b6.
Rook b6.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Rook b6.
Sorry,
next to the knight. Attacking the pawn on yes, that weak pawn there. So tell us now, what's your plan? How do you intend to get out of this? Do you have a perpetual?
Yeah, I think I can get queen b1.
Let's see, queen
and,
b1.
Follow up with queen e4.
Okay.
So if I play queen b1 check.
King up. First.
Up.
Now, can we get away with if you play queen e4, bishop f3?
Maybe queen e4, yeah.
Bishop f3.
Bishop f3.
Yeah, I think you're losing, right?
Yeah. I'm losing.
Yeah, because now I'm threatening you have to play probably queen e5 to protect the rook.
This is bad, yeah.
And I'm just going to give you a nice check. Yes,
this is bad.
I'm winning. I think I'm winning something.
I mean, I'm forced to play queen e5.
You must play queen e5.
And that. In fact, you can even at this point you can even just play bishop times b7.
No, I was thinking to play. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what's going on. But I'm thinking this just looks bad because I could, for example, just play a queen g7 after that, and you can't block with the rook because your queen will be hanging on e5.
Yeah.
Just interesting stuff. Okay.
So we're actually at the point where she has checked, but they've exchanged the bishop.
Oh, they exchanged the bishop.
Yeah.
Oh no. All right. Maybe.
But white is still way better.
Am I seeing? Did I see something land on b1?
Yep.
Queen to b1. Okay. Fine. So what happens?
Queen is on b1. So I think now he's trying to. I think maybe unless queen h5.
No, actually, there's a very interesting possibility. So you go queen d7. Queen h5. Okay, fine.
Maybe
But I was wondering whether rook d7 works. Rook d7.
Rook d7.
And then he must play rook if he. Yeah. Then now play rook d6. Rook d6 check. Just put the rook there. Let the king have munch on it. Munch on it. King munches on it. King picks it.
Yeah. I like the plan.
King d6.
And then we have to take. Then queen takes check.
Yes. And now I'm betting that this knight and king attack should win.
This looks even bad for black.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So Mclegaire really has a good chance here.
Yeah. This
I
is
hope he
good
is able to convert.
Actually, I agree.
I don't know what he did.
So black has played queen e4 check, and
it's still better. I think he has to move up, alright, no problem. It's a really, I mean, this is a mate threat, isn't it? You're trying to go to g7 and then follow with mate. G7, queen g7.
Or even queen d7.
Queen g7, then queen e7 will be checkmate.
True.
There's no defense here, is there?
There's no defense.
This is lost. How does he defend against that? Maybe rook, if he plays rook g6.
I think if you play, what's the best move for black here?
I think rook g6 perhaps.
Rook g6, yeah, looks like the move.
Rook g6, but then rook to d7 check.
Yeah, rook d7 is the thing.
And you lose the queen.
Exactly.
Yeah, so rook d7, king e6, rook e7, rook takes e4. Wow.
You could even take rook and just. Okay, it doesn't work. Yeah, rook d7 check. Another maybe defense for black here would be queen e6.
Queen e6. Let's see. Yeah, queen e6. Okay, what would happen here? What's
So at least it stops the check on d7, and it stops. I think now after this check, I can come to
e8 safely. Yeah,
yeah.
that looks okay. But I have a feeling that you lose something because on the spinning my knight. Okay, so that's probably the best move. I think queen like e6 is probably the best move because it pins the knight. The knight is not able to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So queen e6. I still feel you may be losing.
I may be losing.
You may be losing because
I'm still losing. White is very okay. I think after queen e6.
So there are two checks.
I think you should try queen h5 first.
Queen h5, okay. So queen h5.
Queen h5 looks like it.
Yeah. Queen h5 is a really nasty move because after queen h5, the next move is back rank checkmate. You must give up something. You must jettison something.
Yeah, after queen h5, you must give something.
I think he has to go to g8 only move.
Or maybe block with the rook.
Okay, block with the rook. Okay, yeah, that's true.
Maybe block with the rook.
Because g8 is checkmate, is it? But then again, you just pick the
pawn check.
Yeah, pick the pawn check. That's lost. Completely lost. That's completely lost. You can't block with the rook. That's
king has to go to e8.
Of course. Well, what else can you do?
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, what else can you do? Because if you do go to f8, the rook comes down. You give up your queen, and you're still losing. Yeah, it's lost.
No, it's bad. So we shall be having an interview with WFM Krishi.
Ah, fantastic.
And
have you looked at Krishi's games today, by the way?
I don't know. I've not watched her games actually.
We hadn't managed to pick.
We had not managed to pick her username.
Okay.
But we shall be getting her live shortly.
All right.
Maybe in the meantime, you can be discussing the game for Mehul. Mehul is also playing.
Mehul is playing, all right. Let's see how he is.
We can check out his game.
Okay, doesn't look very good. No, actually, it's okay. I think it's fine. Let's see. So the usual thing of analyzing positions. So Mehul is playing white or black? It's black.
Yeah, Mehul is playing black.
So material count and balance.
Yeah.
So we have a bishop pair for black and an extra, no, just a bishop pair. That's it. The pawn structure looks fairly okay, but then black's king is a bit airy. It's a little bit exposed. Then black has a queenside majority with the front pawn being fairly advanced. That's a significant advantage.
Sure.
And the only issue is black has to figure out how to escape from this threat on his bishop. But isn't the pawn just hanging? There's a pawn hanging on f4. You can just pick it.
Definitely. The pawn on f4 seems free.
Yeah, if you pick the pawn, you pick bishop. Bishop picks the bishop on b5. I have a feeling that's probably lights outish. Or maybe not, because you'll probably pick on f6 first. Okay.
Bishop times a4, yeah. That looks like the move for black. So that he can compensate for losing the pawn on c4.
You can't pick the pawn on c4. If you pick the pawn on c4, bishop d5.
Oh, yeah. The bishop is now well. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
So maybe rook e8 first. Maybe rook.
But rook e8, then it's possible to defend the pawn, no?
Actually, the pawn on c4 is just fine.
Pawn on c4 is just fine. It's going to
So
remain.
maybe rook e1 first. Oh.
Okay, let's see what the plan is.
Okay.
Is there something we're missing?
Maybe he has a check on c2. Queen check on c2.
Queen check on c2. Yeah, that's it. Okay. King check on c2.
Yeah,
that's it.
but it's still not as good because now the pawn on f4 is hanging. The pawn on f4 is still hanging, and the rook will have an attack on the bishop. So because right now white's first priority is removing the rook from this attack. So maybe he placed the rook on d1, but
yes.
either way the f4 pawn is falling.
Yeah, it's tricky stuff.
Maybe that's why taking the pawn wasn't such a good idea.
And black maintains the pawn majority, the queen side pawn majority.
True.
A pawn majority just means he has more pawns on the same
So
side.
I think Mehul is doing very well in this game.
Titus, there's this question we need to answer. I mean, there's someone who's watching today.
Yeah.
Is understanding what is this F4,
Oh,
G4
yeah.
business you're talking about. What does that mean? Because not everyone really understands.
I agree. It's such a simple concept. So for those who are learning chess for the first time, we usually have the board calibrated, or rather having coordinates. So if you look at the chessboard we have on the board, on the rows you can see there's A, B, C, D up
On the
to
files,
H.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we call the rows ranks. And we have the columns, meaning column. Wait. The rows.
The rows are 1 to 8.
Yeah, the rows are 1, 2 up to 8. That's
Yes.
the ranks. And then we have the file that is A up to H. The A column, B column, H column, like that. So whenever you hear say B4 or maybe C5, for example, the square I'm highlighting in red is D4 because it's on the D file.
Yeah.
And it's on the 4th rank. So like at the moment the knight has moved to D3. Okay, so usually use these coordinates to illustrate or rather explain where the pieces are moving, and even to record our games when you're playing. Maybe answered correctly. Maybe
You did actually. You just wondering
Yeah.
whether we have missed. This looks bad. I think you can actually win a piece immediately.
True.
Not a piece, a pawn, but maybe that's a better move. I thought you could pick bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, bishop takes f1. If you pick the pawn on f4, then queen e1 checkmate. If you go back one move,
Maybe we can just go back a bit.
one move in this position.
So
I was thinking you can pick on d3 with the bishop.
just pick immediately.
Yeah.
Then
Oh
queen
no, it
takes.
wouldn't work. Okay, I've seen. All
Queen
right,
takes.
my apologies, it wouldn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, it's to be blunderous.
Maybe at this point.
Yeah.
So he played queen e4.
Queen e4, yes.
Maybe queen e6 was more.
What's the idea? Queen
Or
e6?
maybe no, queen e2.
Queen e2. Yeah, queen e2 is actually a very good move. It's a very good natural move. You're attacking the defender. The queen is defending the knight on e3.
Yeah,
And that knight is
queen
attacked. And then again, if you exchange, the rook comes to the 7th rank.
Yeah.
And the knight is undefended. You're attacking a pawn. It's this is
Then white is forced to take. Then after taking,
good find, Titus.
yeah.
Good find. That's a good move.
Queen e2 is it's quite strong.
Because now the knight is attacked.
Yeah.
And if the knight is picked, the pawn on f4 is hanging. If you
I
move
think
the
that
rook away.
at this point you have to play rook d1.
But
then you take. After you take, we win this pawn.
no, but your bishop is hanging.
Oh yeah, my bishop is hanging.
So pick the f4 bishop instead. F4
So
pawn.
yeah, so after we take the f pawn first.
Yeah, after you
So
pick
after
something.
this, we take the f pawn first.
Yeah. Is there a counter that can work? Say rook d7? Not really, because
rook
you
d7
can
doesn't work.
because you can pick on b2.
I think just play like bishop d4 and protect your pawn.
Yeah. This looks close to a draw, to be honest. As much as
Actually.
it's a pawn up.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of pawn up positions that just don't work. Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. So let's see which is the next game that's still playing. It's only Bimji's game that's live.
So at the moment, actually, Krishi has won her game in round 3.
One fantastic.
So I understand from what you're saying,
Mhm.
and I wanted to find her live. Let me just take a moment, see if I can get her. In the meantime, you can maybe explain Mehul's game.
Her username is Queen Craze. Queen Craze.
Queen Craze.
Yeah, Queen Krishi, WFM. Very strong player. She's been playing for the country for a long time now. In the junior scene, now just moving on a little bit You know, she's very, very dedicated, very committed.
Wow, and
lots
we
of
have
hope.
some good news for Kenya.
Yeah.
Mclegaire has just won.
Mclegaire was winning.
Yeah,
You can
he
see how
was
that game has gone.
He's won his game.
Yeah.
And definitely this was
Picturesque.
exactly. We
Queen-
expected this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Queen, Rook, I think moved from.
Can you see where we left it from? Just to see how it went.
Just maybe you can just go back a bit.
We were wondering whether Black would play Queen E6. What did Black play? To go back a little bit.
At this point, after that,
Yes, I picked the pawn. Oh,
picked
that's
the pawn, and now after Queen.
Wait a minute. That wasn't. Okay, that wasn't checkmate. Okay, that was
It
checkmate.
was after check, King moved up. He took a pawn. Rook checked. Rook check again, and now the knight fell. I
Free.
think. Yeah.
This
King
is
up.
just checkmate.
Oh.
I thought you'd probably
just check and
check.
go for
Yeah, just
mate.
check and mate. Yeah. But it's
Okay,
still fine.
anyway.
So free queen and still mate follow. No escape.
Sadly, Lucy lost.
Yeah, Lucy's position was bad.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Lucy
she
lost.
a rook early.
Maybe the two games we have hope with is Mehul and Mehul playing. So maybe I can just request for just a minute with him.
So Krishi has won, Mclegaire has won. That's good. We are 2 up. And we've lost 1 game for Volcano.
Yeah.
Can we be looking at the game for what game is on the screen? Mehul, yes.
Yeah, Mehul is on
okay.
the screen.
I'm wondering.
We can check out Mehul's game. Mehul, let's see where Mehul is at the moment. Mehul's game looks very drawish.
It does.
Mehul's game also looks drawish. Just a moment, give me like a small, personally maybe we can continue illustrating the game as I try to reach out to Krishi.
Okay. So I'll probably just look at it on my screen. Let's just see how Mehul is doing. Yeah, I remember playing Mehul in one of the games. I think it was Machakos Open, and we had sort of. I thought I stole a pawn quite early. He had miscalculated something very, very simple, but then he had too much activity, and I spent about 10 minutes calculating first line, about 7 moves. Yeah, and he just spent a few minutes, and very quickly Mehul was on my case, and no matter what I did, I just found I couldn't cope, and within a few moves I just lost it. And it's a fairly accurate game. I checked it out online, maybe for 2 mistakes, one very minor, one a bit more significant, and just out of that, it was the game was lost. And that's the nature of chess now. And Mehul is a particularly strong player. It's necessary to look at African players as being underrated because many of us do not have ratings. I got my first rating, I think, about just 3 years ago after playing chess for quite a while. And that has an impact really on what we see in terms of rating for most players. So I'm looking at the game for Mehul. Mehul has 38 seconds, the opponent has 13 seconds, but his position looks pretty... doesn't look very good from what I looked at. I think the opponent has just missed a move somewhere, maybe because of time, and has allowed this nice move, knight. Oh my, that looks tricky. I think there's a fork sitting on it. Okay, bishop takes. That's bishop takes. Okay, should I pick with the bishop? I think bishop could have been best. I thought so. Let's see. King E1, I think, is forced here. Oh, that loses the knight, no? That loses the knight completely, so that's pretty much just a bad move. I think time pressure is really playing a role in these discussions. Yeah, this doesn't look right. What's going on? I think there's a simple move here. Triple the queen. Sale king's gone. Oh my goodness! And it's on the board. Doesn't look good really. Okay. Rook down. What happens? King E2, King D2. That loses a piece. No. So I think that looks bad there. It's time pressure. I think there's a lot of pressure on the E file. I think this is basically lost, if you ask me. Black has 4 pawns. Can exchange everything. Pick an extra pawn. Or actually just queen right up. This doesn't look good for me, so I think this is lost. I don't see any hope for perpetual here, so this is just lost. I hope the viewers are seeing the Mehul game.
I believe so too. They are watching Mehul's game. They're actually watching Mehul's game.
Oh, sorry. So I'm commentating on my own. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Just looking at it on my screen. I should just have a look at what you're seeing. My apologies.
Yeah.
But if you turn to Mehul's game, there's a bit of drama there. Just one moment, so that we can. Yeah, that's it. And I think Mehul is just going to resign here. I don't think there's much to play for. Yeah, I think he's resigned. You can quickly move to the Mehul game. I think that one is over as well. Mehul one, okay. So yeah, that's it, guys. We've had the end of day one. The run through the scores. I think that's again another draw, 3-3, if I'm not mistaken. So Kenya has drawn all 3 games today. A good shift put in. Of course, we hope for better matches tomorrow in terms of wins, and that's a decent performance. No real situation where we've lost. Again, this is a rapid, and so the time pressure actually plays a role, plus network connection and many other factors.
True.
So
just to intercept a bit, so shortly we'll be having WFM Krishi having a small interview with her. We're trying to reach her. Give us like a minute, 1 minute break, and we'll be back with her. Unless maybe you have something else to add.
No, just very tight shift. Again, it's easy to look at some of these ratings on online chess and think the players are not strong, but in fact very different, far from it. Many players don't play online, so they'd have very low ratings. And then I'm seeing a number of countries in Asia, for example, are using completely new accounts, so that you really can't tell. You're playing someone rated 1200, which is more or less beginner level, but in fact their chess is way above 2000. So with the rapid time controls, then the games are pretty fast. You don't have time to think through multiple moves, and you'll miss a lot. This is expected, and sadly it has contributed a lot to some of the results that we are seeing.
Yeah. So just a minute as we reach out to WFM Krishi, then we'll be back to live.
Hey, welcome back, and we're just coming back in after round 3 of the day 1 of online chess Olympiad. We are being joined by the entire team Kenya in the next few minutes after a good day in the office. I think first up we have Mehul Gorilla, really one of the greatest players of the last centuries and current national chess champion. Mehul, good afternoon. Yeah, I think I have no option but to start from your second game. I think against Tanzania, we stopped watching your game because we felt this was completely won for you. We moved to a different game. When you came back, we found, oh my goodness, you've lost, and comes down to one moment. Queen takes f7. Tell us about that. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, but I mean, for you personally, it must be because it's a fantastic game, and I mean, it's completely winning. And what did you plan to play? Because it's hard to see what's the most sleep. What had you planned to play instead of Queen f7? Mm. Yeah. Mm. All right. So, how was the day generally? What's your view? How did this go? Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Mm. Mm. All right. Okay. Any kind of advice you'd give to anybody who's watching you and sort of getting inspired by you? What kind of support can you get from people on the ground who are just saying, go Team Kenya, go Mehul? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, I've lost you there for one moment, Mehul. Maybe you have to replay, say it again from you and me to giving bonus. I've lost you there for a moment. All right, so maybe you've lost the sound on that quite a bit. We'll probably get back to Mehul in just a short while. Hello, Mehul, can you get me? Yeah, now I can hear you, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's the standard, and I hope that going forward, we wish you well, Mehul. Let's release you so you can have some time to rest. We talked to a few other players. Otherwise, good job. Thank you for putting in a tight shift for the country. We do appreciate your effort. Thank you. So please don't go away. We're expecting a few more players online. I know we have Krishi, who's won all her 3 games today. We have Robert, our young GM Fisher, also on the way. I know national champion WCM Lucy Wanjiru is on the way, and we're just hoping to get to them as we in the next few minutes. So stay tuned. Don't move away. Okay, next up is WFM Krishi, who has just won all her 3 games on the first day in a really difficult tournament. Congratulations, Krishi. That was a fantastic performance. How was the experience, and how does it feel to be sitting on the platform on the world's premier chess stage? Okay, next up is WFM. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Getting a single point on the world stage is not easy. Getting 3 out of 3 is nothing short of amazing. I think the whole country owes you a debt of gratitude for such a fantastic performance. What do you do to prepare for chess? What's your routine like for this kind of event? What have you put in? Yes.
And I feel like I paid a lot of attention in those lessons, as well as with my coach, Mehul, who trained me very well for this event. My mom and my dad have been my constant supporters, and they've always been motivating me. I've not been going to school because it's been online, and we recently stopped. So I've dedicated most of my time to playing chess and playing online many games. So I feel like I have strengthened myself and mentally prepared myself to be well prepared for these games, and hopefully I will win of the rest of my games.
How many hours do you put into chess every week for this event, for example?
I usually play around 3 to 4 hours a day online.
Yeah.
And that involves playing on light chess or just doing tactics on my phone. Whenever I'm free, I love to play chess.
Mm-hmm.
So I sometimes play with my mom, and I read chess books, and I also do a lot of tactics. I think that really helps me become a better, stronger chess player.
Yeah, I was asking you that because someone may look at you and think that you're there by privilege, but in fact it's by right, putting in 4 hours every single day, that close to what it takes to be on that world stage and get those points. Finally, WFM, if I ask you, your last game, that was an amazing attack. Within 27 moves is checkmate, and everything attacking the king. How did that happen, and how does that make you feel?
So in my last game, I started off well and attacking. I generally am an attacking player, so I pushed my pawns, and I always made my opponent play a move that they're forced to play, not a move that they want to play. And then it got to a point where I aligned my queen and my rook together, and I coordinated all my pieces very well so that I could win material. More specifically, I won their knight and their pawn. So I easily took this position to endgame. And in endgame, I queened, and I was around 3 or 4 pawns up, as well as a knight up. And it was a knight, pawn, king versus king and pawn endgame. So that was an easy win for me after that.
Wow, well done, OWFM. Let's release you to go back to prepare. I know you have another set of games tomorrow. We wish you can put in the exact same shift, and may God bless you and guide you in everything that you're doing.
Yes, I do hope that tomorrow we win all of our games, not just me, but the whole team wins their games, and we can qualify to the next level.
That's the attitude. Okay, so viewers, don't log off yet. We still have national champion Vulcan O, aka Lucy Wanjiru, engineer, coming up together with a couple of players. We'll meet Master Metu, we'll meet Robert Mclegaire, the young Robert Fisher himself, coming up in a few.
Sorry, I didn't really hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't looked at all your games. Great. Joining us now is Kenya's own Robert Fisher, 15-year-old, a player who's already sending waves across the national scene, chess scene. This is Robert Mclegaire. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you.
You two, just like the rest of the team, you've put in a fantastic shift. 2 out of 3 on day one. This is your first time representing sort of the national team, the main team in a chess Olympiad. How does it make you feel?
I mean, it feels good. A big thanks to Chess Kenya for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
But of course, it doesn't come easy. It means you've done something. It's you're sitting there on merit. What has it taken for you to get where you are right now in terms of personal effort, in terms of chess practice and passion?
I guess lots of training. Mehul has also helped in keeping my chess sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I caught the game that you sort of lost, the game that you lost. And when we joined, you were a bishop down fairly early, and your pawns were sort of weak on a5 and b4. How did you lose a piece?
Yeah.
And what have you learned from that particular game?
Okay, so those I'd seen something else. I just missed like one small detail.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a small detail. So I think I just learned to pay more attention to the placement of my pieces and my opponent's pieces. Yeah.
Okay. Any advice you want to give to the young men out there who are looking at you and wondering how a 15-year-old can be flying the national flag? How do they get to where you are now? What can they do? Someone who's not even playing chess yet, they think it's almost impossible.
I guess just hard work. Hard work beats talent. Yeah.
All right.
They should
okay.
solve tactics, and yeah, they should be okay.
How much time do you put in chess in a week?
Okay. Normally I don't do that much, but because there's not as much school, I think since schools closed around 6 hours.
6 hours per day?
Yeah.
And that is not that much. I think you can imagine what it takes. That's the spirit. I think 6 hours per week is quite immense, and for sure we can watch Robert going forward. Robert,
not per week, per day.
Per day, yes. 6 hours per day.
Yes.
That's what it takes, and I surely keep that up for the next 1 year, and some of us old guys will probably be going home. Robert, thank you very much. We want to let you off to prepare for the next day. Tight games tomorrow. Wish you the best and good outcomes.
Thank you.
Welcome. Once again, just a reminder, please stay on. We have lined up the rest of the Kenyan team, and a shout out to chess.com. I think the platform on which we are presenting this has been a fantastic opportunity, a first really for Kenya in this way, and we do appreciate the chess.com team. We are joined now by Kenya National Ladies Chess Champion, WFM Lucy Wanjiru. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you.
Tough day in the office for you, must have been.
I can't hear you clearly.
A bit of a tough day in the office.
Yes, it's been a tough day.
Yeah, and especially this game where the last game I think where you had a much better position. All of a sudden, your opponent gets a chance to play Queen H4, and you have to give up a rook at the end. Tell us a bit about this.
The game was already lost at that point. I mean, like, it was just fight to the last minute, hoping for any chances that you can get.
Okay. But at the point where you picked, actually, we were looking at your game a little bit just after, and actually, your tactic that went all the way to knight times h5 was actually still quite on point, and it was still quite good. Either to retract the knight, all that was quite in order. Where did you go wrong?
So, at that point, I think the follow-up move with to f3 was the mistake there. So I gave my opponent a chance to counterattack, and that's how I ended up losing the position.
At what point, because you found your move knight takes h5 to be spectacular, that was a spectacular move, Lucy. That was a fantastic move. I think Gary Kasparov himself would be.
Can you please be louder? I really can't hear you.
Yeah, so your move knight takes h5 was a spectacular move. At what point did you see it? When did you see that move? Was it?
I saw it after my opponent played the bishop, capturing the pawn on the g file.
Okay.
That's the point when I realized that I had that move.
Well, I think if you didn't have a chance to look at that game, please just have a look at it. It's basically a straightforward piece sacrifice, but you know what? It's a rapid game, so figuring that out on such short notice tells you the quality of Lucy Wanjiru, a national champion. So, Lucy, other than the difficult games where you may have had a little bit of, can I say, tough luck, how is the experience? Other than the games that you lost, how has the experience been?
The experience was good. I think the experience is okay, but I still stick to my preference of playing face to face with my opponent rather than virtually like this.
Yeah,
it can be a bit distracting playing online. So I'm just getting used to it. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll have picked up and I'll get used to it.
Thank you very much, Lucy. We do wish you well in your next couple of games. And generally, for the whole team, you guys have done the best that you can. Actually, getting a single point in the World Olympiad is a big deal. And I think you've really put in a good shape. We are most appreciative as a country. Thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are waiting for Master Methu coming up next. And thereafter, WFM Sasha Mongeli is on tour, and just the entire team playing today. We'll have a chance to talk to all of them. Okay, so we are trying to get in touch with the rest of the team. We got slightly disconnected. Please pardon us for that. But in the meantime, we have the privilege of being joined by none other than the president of Chess Kenya and the vice president Chess African Chess Federation, President Bernard Wanjala. Bernard, welcome.
Thank you very much, Victor. You are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Bwana Chairman. But really, it comes down to your effort as a team. And today, Team Kenya has had its best first day outing in chess in history, in a chess Olympiad in history. We can think of many things, but there's one particular provision you put in place, which was to bring in an international coach, Peter Long, to coach the Kenyan team. Just take us behind the scenes, what brought this about, and what it has taken to get to that stage.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bwana Victor and Terry Academy at large for making this happen. Basically, I will say this is the right step that I hope as a federation we have taken in terms of having a very focused training, and that will have not been possible if we don't have someone with a very good experience to take through the team. You'll also remember we have had several local coaches, and the problem has been sometimes the players don't feel, like the person who is coaching them is strong enough, or sometimes they are beaten. There is that lack of seriousness whenever you have a local coach, and perhaps you have good experience, but because of the closeness and friendship, it end up hurting the process of coaching. And that informs the decision why we felt we should have someone who would be able to, command respect. And also we needed someone with very good experience in coaching, and Peter Long, from our assessment, was the best at this time.
Well,
the biggest problem, yes.
Yeah, just go ahead.
The problem have been the resources. Because again, also you don't want to engage someone and, you are not able to facilitate. Remember, online platform also consumes a lot of resources to make it happen. So this Olympiad was very timely because it's giving us an opportunity to assess the progress we are making. But we are still very far from what we want to do.
Thank you. And just talking about resources, I think the difficult thing that has been is just having leadership that dedicates the resources to the need that is there. And I know it's not cheap, but it's an area of commitment from your office to make this possible. I think just to say thank you on behalf of other chess players that now this kind of senior leadership, senior coaching is sort of being given to the team. You watched today's games, I'm assuming.
Pardon, I didn't get you clearly.
You followed the games today by the Kenyan team?
Yes, I followed very closely from the start.
Yes, so what is your view? What's your take? Do you see as if we've made progress? What's your take on this? Perhaps this is where we should have started.
There is a huge improvement. I can tell you, even before the game started, there was a lot of commitment from the team.
Yeah.
They have been having trainings, and I can tell you 100% attendance was something I didn't expect. And even the level of engagement that has been there between the coach and the players shows also they are thirsty to move to the next level. And this is what we have been looking. Because again, having a coach is one thing, and having players who are willing to be trained is another thing. I can confirm to you, this is a team that, to me, have been very focused from the start, and the result will be able to actually show in this match. I know sometimes it takes time for the training to reflect in the game, But I'm seeing a scenario where it's going to reflect very, very fast, starting from this Olympiad. The play has been very good, and I think to me it was a commendable play, and we are looking forward tomorrow for better games and perhaps the biggest opportunity to handle now the biggest opposition in the group. I'm very optimistic that the team will move to the next stage.
Two last questions before we let you go, Bwana Chairman, Mr. President. The first is COVID-19 has been very disruptive of everything that you had put in place. You gave us a car as a first prize in the national championship, and you promised that in April the prize will be bigger. So if you had a car in December, you were expecting a bigger car perhaps, or something of that nature in the month of April. Now with COVID-19, what has it meant for African chess and Kenyan chess in terms of your plans? What are we able to do now?
Now, it has changed several things. First of all, we had to restructure our plan for the year. You remember we had shared the schedule of our tournaments, including Kenya Open, National Championship, National Youth. All of them we had to shelve them. And we are focusing now on fielding capacity. And one of it was to look for now a coach who can be able to handle the team. We also have a huge impact on our players, where majority of them have suffered in terms of income. It has been very challenging, and I'm happy at least a few of our players have been supported by stipend, and we will continue supporting. And we have also maintained our office 24/7 to ensure that those who need resources, they can be able to access and be supported. We are working on modalities, whether we can hold a national online tournament. As you can see, it has a lot of challenges because you need to put a lot of infrastructure to ensure that you also cap the challenges that comes with online matches. So I'm sure before the end of the year, we will have at least one national online tournament. May not be so big, but at least move from the inactivity to something. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Always a pleasure talking to you. Keep up the great work and great leadership. Give us greater things. We are behind you, and we hope you can have coaches like Peter Long taking on more than the national team, also the juniors in the scene, to benefit from this level of experience, this level of chess knowledge. That was our President, Bernard Wanjala, President Chess Kenya, Vice President Africa Chess Federation, just joining us to give us his views. Please stay tuned. We are still hoping to get Master Mehul and WFM Sasha Mungeli, who are the last two players. They'll be on in a short while.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Unfortunately, we have not been able to get Master Mehul and WFM Sasha online, but no issue. They'll be with us tomorrow and the day after. We'll be able to get them in for an interview in the course of this tournament, and hopefully Team Kenya will be moving on much further. So it's been me, Dr. Victor Ngani, together with
Titus Kireka.
See you tomorrow and the day after. Please join us, share this widely, and don't forget to leave a comment. Actually, we have not given a shout out to our commentators. Just before we close, just to say thank you to Danny Wambogo, Terian Chess Africa, and the rest of the team. Rita Wanjiru, dangerous haircut. I don't know how that is. I know it has flames. Just leave a comment. We'll do our best to make sure we respond to some of the questions that you have. Titus, you promised to do Puzzle Rush online.
I promised to do that tomorrow. Today, because of time, we couldn't do it, but tomorrow I'll make sure I do it.
Thank you.
I don't know how it really works, but I believe it's not easy. But I'll try my best tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for those who've been watching. This has been the first time we're doing the online Olympiad, even for us as streamers. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks a lot, Dr. Ngani. I really enjoyed a lot of insights from your experience of many years in chess. I believe there's so much to learn. Tomorrow, I don't know, I wish we would be there, but I think tomorrow Ngani may not be around. But shout out to so many guys. Shout out to Chess Kenya, first for this opportunity. Chess.com in conjunction with FIDE, Tyrian Chess Academy, you, Daktari, Wanjala, the whole Chess Kenya team, Mukabi, Wandera. I mean, there's a list I cannot even finish.
And most importantly, you, our viewers, for being with us. You make this possible. Cheers. I'll see you tomorrow, whether it's myself or a different team that's going to be here, depending on the situation. Stay tuned. Support Team Kenya and Team Africa. Let's have chess grow. And if you don't play chess yet, just pick up the sport. You'll be amazed at what you'll be able to achieve. Put in the hours. Let's make chess great in Kenya. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.